Welcome back, kings and queens, and welcome if you're new here. My name is Hope King, and I'm the designer of King's Designs MD. Today, I just want to show you a quick and fun shirt design that I did on Canva. So if you haven't followed me before, you know if you go to the home screen of Canva, you can click on Create a Design. I usually pick custom size and pick 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 8.5 to make my design. I went into Elements and picked out a fun elf design. And then I started looking around for other things I wanted to add. So I grabbed a wine glass and decided to play around with the color to see what I wanted to choose. I ended up choosing between red and green to keep it with the holiday colors and finally settled on green. What you see me doing here is just sizing my design down because I wanted to make it look like the elf was popping out of the wine glass. So I'm messing around with it, getting them settled, and taking a little longer and a little longer to figure out where I actually want them placed. Now, what I'll tell you is one of my key things to do is to zoom in on Canva. I use the little slider at the bottom to make it larger so that it makes it easier for me to move things around sometimes. So that's a helpful hint or helpful tip if you're having trouble with adjusting your items and you wanted to get it to sit in exactly the right place. You can enlarge the slider at the bottom to make your screen bigger so that it's just easier to move around. So again, I'm just playing with this to see where I'm going to move it. Another fun thing you can do when using Canva is if you don't want to have to move things around manually, you can click on the button at the top that says position, and that'll show you the left and right boxes. When you see those left and right boxes, it allows you to center things, move things to left or just right or just middle, all the things you see that says align to page. That helps you to move things around. Another thing you can do is if you're copying somebody's design, you see where it says advanced down at the bottom corner. You can just plug in those numbers just like you would on a Cricut to be able to put something on the X and Y axis to be exactly where you want it to sit. You can move things around and just plug in those numbers. So you can pick the exact same size I used and put it in the exact same placement that I used so that you can get the exact same outcome that I had. So now that I have everything like I want it, I'm choosing my color and playing with different shades of green. So you can click on where it says document colors and the plus sign, and you can choose different shades of colors if you never knew that. You can do that. And again, I'm playing around to decide, do I want red? Do I want green? Do I want a different shade of red? And once I'm done, I will be highlighting over the two and grouping them together so that now it's one piece and I can use it how I want as the one piece. I already knew I wanted to say something funny like let's get elfed up. Just as a fun holiday design. It'd be cute for a shirt. Oh, it'd be cute for a wine bag. I didn't even think about that. You can sublimate it on a wine bag, even some mugs or tumblers to hand out to friends, family, coworkers, or even to sell. So I'm playing around in here to decide what font I want to use. Because this is a fun design, I don't want a serious font. I want something fun. So finger paint is a fun design that kind of looks like handwriting. But I decided not to go with that. I wanted to try something a little different. So I went into the font section and I picked something that I thought would be a fun look. So it's similar to finger paint, but it's a little thicker, which this works out good because if you're doing something that's a vinyl craft or something that's a thinner craft, it's good to have a thicker font. So I know if I'm using my Cricut and there's a super thin font, it usually is very, very tedious for me to try to weed. So I like to have thicker fonts, especially when I'm using my Cricut. Now, if you're doing something like sublimation or DTF, it may not matter to you as much as it does when you're doing something like vinyl that you have to cut out and pay a little bit more attention to. So I am just using my space and moving things around to get it where I want to, so it just look fun by the time the design's done. And so again, I'm picking out my colors. Using multiple colors in the design makes it a little more interesting sometimes. People like, even when you're layering vinyl as opposed to sublimation, usually multiple colors cost more money because it's using more product, but also it gives it just an interesting design element. So there we go. I'm picking my colors, I'm picking my shades of green, and I decide what shade I want to end up on. Now, another thing is, if you didn't know, in Canva, when you go to your colors, each color has a different code. So I tried to slow down and highlight over my colors as I was using them, but you can play this again and go back and look so you can choose the exact same shades of red and green that I chose. Um, all you have to do is type in the color number and it'll populate for you. Now, this design is already fun enough for me, but I decided to go back in and look for something else to add to it, just to again jazz it up just a little bit more and make it a little more interesting. So I wanted to look for some jingle bells, and I wasn't exactly sure where I was going to put them or how I was going to use them. That again, to me, is the fun part of design. You can do whatever you want. So, you have the freedom to decide what you want to do. So you can go in there and choose your different elements. And I chose some jingle bells that weren't attached to anything. And I attached them to the letter P and moved it to the back. And then I chose a second jingle bell by just copying and pasting or duplicating. And I'm going to move that one to the back. And then I'm going to go back in and choose one more element from the element section. And now this is a hanging element or a hanging ornament. And I'm just moving it around to get it how I want it and shrink it down so it's not overlaying the other letters. Now, you can use this design for all kinds of things. So you can use it on water slide. You can use it as printable vinyl. You can use it as sublimation. You can use it as DTF. There's so many things that you can do with this design. Um, and so many ways that you can use it: aprons, bags, cups, mugs, notebooks, even little mini shot glasses if you have the little sublimation shot glasses. I would not try to do that in vinyl. That's just me. Weeding out little teeny tiny vinyl sometimes can be tedious. But I hope this helps somebody. If you don't want to make this design, hop on over to my website, www.kingsdesignsmd.com, and you can purchase it. Have a great day.